Morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Almost Live. We begin with an induction of a joke into the Craig O'Neill Joke Hall of Fame, a solemn ceremony that I think you'll appreciate. A man is standing on the seashore in California, looking out over the Pacific Ocean, looking fondly toward the west, in the direction of a state he loves, Hawaii. He's enjoyed every visit there, and he fondly recalls family memories. All of a sudden, a lamp washes up onto the beach. The man picks up the lamp, rubs the side of it, putting the sand off, and yes, you guessed it, sure enough, a genie pops up. And the genie says, "Thank you for freeing me. I will grant you one wish. What's it going to be?" And the man said, "Wait a minute, I thought it was three wishes." And the genie said, "No, that's an old wives' tale. Just one wish. Make it a good one." And the man says, "Well, I was just thinking about Hawaii and how wonderful it would be if there was this super highway from California to Hawaii. So I wouldn't have to worry about a plane or packing up or any of that. I could just get in the car and drive to Hawaii. What do you think?" Jeannie says, "I'm not so sure about that. Think about how you would interrupt whale migration, how that would affect ocean currents and weather. I'm just not sure that's wise. Why don't you come up with another wish?" The man goes, "Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I've been married almost 60 years. I'd like to know what's going on in my wife's head because I still don't know. Where does she come up with all of these incredible things that she has me do?" And the genie says, "How many lanes you want on that highway?"
Wake up, you sleepyhead, get up, get out of bed, live, love, laugh, and be happy.
Okay, Jane didn't appreciate that joke, but welcome. It is Saturday morning, almost live for the first day of March, which is International Women's Month, because it's the only month that tells you what to do.
Yeah, don't make so many derogatory jokes about women.
Okay, there you go. Well, Jane, that brings Jane out of the kitchen where she's fixing breakfast. It's all being brought to you by Walnetto Arts and Entertainment, where imagination is too big a word for Wordle. Jane and I play Wordle every afternoon. And what is our streak now? We're on our, I think we're at 24. Our top streak of getting them all right is 41. And I confess,
No, that's how many times you do them.
well, okay, well,
If you miss one, then you start a new streak.
I got
But
you.
we have won 98% of the time and
See there?
over 1,000 plays.
We will confess that yesterday we had to have a hint.
Yeah.
There are ways you can go to get tips. But enough about our Wordle resume. We're here to celebrate a Saturday, to celebrate time off. And we begin with making good on a promise I had on this show that I would reveal my top 10 books from the top 100. For those of you who are not filled in, I read the 100 greatest novels ever written according to Entertainment Weekly magazine. It was a 2014 issue, and I got around to it in 2016, and I did it. And people wanted to know, including Lynn at Wordsworth Books, where we celebrated this achievement. Lynn wanted to know, what are your top 10 books? And Marianne Williams, who's this show's number one, well, she's the conscience of Saturday Morning Almost Live, said, "Craig, you promised to put that up." So here's the email I sent to Lynn at Wordsworth. Begins with Anna Karenina. I'm telling you all, Leo Tolstoy, incredible. He predicts things that or not predicts, but he works with things that are going on now. The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, a fabulous Japanese author. Their Eyes Were Watching God. A Suitable Boy from Bikram Seth, who is from India. Harry Potter series, number 6. The Big Sleep, Raymond Chandler, number 5. To Kill a Mockingbird, 4. Native Son by Arkansas's own Richard Wright, who published a book in 1939 that is shocking in nature, but yet so enlightening. And things that are brought to forth in that book are still going on now. Pure Entertainment, number 2, Lonesome Dove. And number 1, and some people may have a problem with this, The Great Gatsby, which in my opinion, all American, and no one examines the disparity in wealth like F. Scott Fitzgerald. So there you go.
Your top 10, not
My top 10, not right. My top 10 books of the top 100. Great Gatsby, for instance, was number 2 in the magazine. Anna Karenina, number 1. So there you go. Marianne, I made good on my promise. And now, since we're passing out accolades, let's go from F. Scott Fitzgerald to Onyx Coffee Shop. That's a picture of it. Onyx Coffee Shop in Bentonville, Fayetteville, and Rogers, named the number 2 coffee shop in the world recently with this website that, well, they rank certain things. CNN made light of this, but Onyx, number 2. Number 1 was Toby's Estate Coffee in Sydney, Australia. So I would suggest going here. Sydney's a little bit far-fetched, unless you happen to run across a genie. Anyway, bringing it all back. Okay, Onyx, congratulations. And I also need to ask, do we have to rank everything? Do we have to rank things? Think about it. We're on the verge of the Academy Awards, in which we look for the Academy Award winner. Isn't the movie-going experience enough? Isn't putting a beautiful movie on the screen, or in so many more people's cases on the TV, isn't that rewarding enough? Do we have to hand out these trophies? Well, apparently we do. Which brings us to one more ranking to mention, and this comes to us from our Libby, Montana office. The world's smallest park is now in a town in Japan, and it surpasses the smallest park that was in Portland, Oregon, and it's this one, right in the middle of the road. That is a state park in Portland, Oregon. It's Mills End Park. And until this one opened up in Japan, and the one in Japan is like barely a yard square, so they really went for it. But this one is right in the middle of the road, and it is a state park. Now, it brings to mind, you might have a state park in your yard. You could get supplemental money from the state for the time being to open up your own park. Think about it. I'm not real sure. Not real sure that you could pull that off. But anyway, we go from Mills End in Portland, Oregon, all the way to, with the help of Saturday Morning Almost Live, Russellville. This is White Elementary. We're also going to show you Crawford Elementary, the kids in those 2 wonderful schools that were stops on the Craig O'Neill reading road trip. Thank you, Baldwin and Shell. Thank you, Genesis of Conway, for making it happen. 2 great books, great stories, and great kids. And also got a chance to meet Stephanie Perkins, the literacy coach in Russellville. And I asked her point blank, hey, what do we need to do? What does the community accomplish when it comes into schools to read? Not just me, but community members themselves.
They see teachers all the time. They need to see people who are working in the community, people in their life outside of school, reading as well. That way it becomes more relevant to their lives.
Give me a tip. What would you like to see me do? Because I've got a lot more schools to go, a lot more places to stop. This was fantastic. 95% of them were bought into it. But what should I do? Give me some tips.
Well, when you come in to read, just make sure that you're making eye contact, that you're using the voices, that you're being real with the kids, looking them in the eye, bringing them in as you read.
Ooh, good tips. Thank you, Stephanie. Good tips. And you know when you've got them, when you're reading a book and you look up and you can tell. And most of the time, most of the kids are bought into it. There are some that are kind of looking away, and you can tell that they're not quite with you. Then again, you can get surprised. I know this, that if I'm alive in 15 years, there'll be kids who will come up to me at some event or some store or something, who'll say, I'll never forget when you came and read to me in my school. My way of saying, hey, join the army of people, especially grandparents, who are going into schools and reading to children and sharing the power of story. Read Across America Week would be a good time to look into it. It's next week. I got 4 incredible stops. Jefferson Elementary, which carries with it an emotional impact, which I'll share with you next week. Benton, going to Angie Grant Elementary on Wednesday, going to Augusta on Thursday, and Friday, they're going to have a book character parade. You dress up as your favorite book character. Jane, I wonder how many Harry Potters we'll have, which is going to be fabulous. The wonderful Cass Seidenschnur, who is the media specialist, librarian at Hurricane Creek. And she is wonderful. She was nominated for Teacher of the Year because she's so creative in putting on this parade. Other schools have done it, but can't wait for Hurricane Creek on Friday. That's next week. This concludes this week. Go Hogs. We'll see who wins the Academy Award, and we'll wish you the best of all Saturday mornings, brought to you by Walnetto Arts and Entertainment, where imagination says enough of the ranking. Just enjoy it like it is.